The War of Caernarvon Crescent.
I was sat on the sofa in the living room, cuddled up to both Ellie and Aurora, watching a crappy modern kids cartoon on the TV. Agamemnon was laying across the three of us, and his ears pointed to attention. He looked up towards the window and darted towards the front door in full guard mode. I heard the gate click and swung open. I just knew already who my unexpected guest was going to be. The doorbell rang whilst I was on my way out to the living room. I slipped on my trainers as I got to the door, and as I opened the door, a foot placed itself into the doorway, and a hand held the door open. Standing there was a seriously fat, balding spitfuck of a man. The rolls of flab was hanging out of his 10 sizes too small t-shirt and overhanging his belt. Agamemnon began to snarl and growl like a motherfucker. His ears were rigid and his back was arched, with him waiting for the command from me to allow him to rip the life out of this fat fuck old man. "If you value your face, I suggest you and I take a walk outside," I said. "Agamemnon doesn't like strangers in this house, especially when balding fat fucks like you try to force themselves inside. Do yourself a favour, me and you outside, and I'll close the door, and my dog will be removed from the equation." The old fat fucker nodded and walked back a few paces, not taking an eye off me for a second. I walked outside, and without taking my eyes off this fat bastard, I shut the door behind me. After all, I really didn't want Agamemnon getting destroyed by the police for this fat bastard and the crone's expense. "You've got 5 seconds to get off my property," I said. "There won't be a 6. "What's this I hear about you picking on my mum?" said the fat fucker, who at this point was sweating his tits off. 1, 2, 3... There was no chance I was going to give this fat bastard what he wanted on his terms. 4. The fat man was out my gate when I got to 5. "That's better," I said calmly as I was standing at the gate on the boundary of my property. "Your mum has been a nasty piece of work since the day we moved in." "What did she tell you?" The fat man struggled to breathe under all the flab on his neck. He sounded like an asthmatic hippopotamus. "That you've been mean to her every day since you moved in." "Come on, cut the bullshit," I said. "You know exactly what your mother is like. After all, she did raise you on this street." The fat man was stunned. He knew I was right, but he had to defend his mother, no matter how much of a lying, obnoxious, obtuse, mardy cunt she actually is. "Did she tell you what she did to us?" I said. "I bet you she fucking didn't." I got closer to the State Puff Marshmallow Man looking cunt. "She drugged my dog. She egged my dog. She assaulted my nephew, a lad of 12, by egging him as well. She vandalised my car." I paused and with an almighty roar continued, "That's just the tip of the fucking iceberg. Now, if you want a fucking piece of me because your mother's lies and shameful actions, get out the fuck on that fucking green and I'll show you the fucking wrath of Almighty God, motherfucker." I could see the fear in this fat bastard. Not only were the pits of his t-shirt soaking wet, not only did he have some streams of sweat pouring off his face and landing on his exposed belly fat, but he looked like he would never eat again. I could smell something emanating from him, but to be honest, I doubt it was the smell of shit. It was probably the smell of his obese health problems coming to the surface from the rush of blood and adrenaline. He was going redder than a Tannerexic's first day in the sun. This poor bastard was now in a tough position. He probably promised his cunt mother that he would deal with me, that he would deliver her a pound of flesh, and that he would intimidate me to want to pack up and move out so she can once again parade around as the king shit of the road once more, so she can boast to the neighbourhood that it was her that got rid of me. Well, that simply wasn't going to happen. There was no chance in high hell that this roasting piggy fucker was going to frighten me, and he knew it. He knew that he had bitten off more than he could chew, and that coming from that fat fucker like himself was no easy achievement. He knew he was fucked. He just didn't know how to get himself out of it. I noticed at this point that the whole street was looking at us. Now the pressure was on. Not only do I have the advantage of not wanting to lose a fight to this sack of potatoes in front of my wife, but I also got the vibe that the older residents, who probably were terrorised by this family of cunts for many years, wanted me to just do this cunt a mischief. It was in the air, and I could taste it. The fat man knew this too. I could see it in his eyes, the fear of losing in front of these people who he had terrorised for years. They all wanted him to suffer, and he knew it. "Walk away, you fat fuck," I said with pure anger and hatred. "Walk the fuck away with your tail between your fucking legs. If you can find it from under your flab." The fat man finally snapped. He threw a punch, and it was as slow as a granny driving down a dual carriageway. I saw it a mile off. I leaned back out of reach, and then the fat bastard fell over himself. I kicked him in the knee, and he fell down like a sinking kraken. As his body slammed into the floor face first, I could have sworn that the floor rumbled as though there was a minor tremor. I bet if you freeze-framed the recording on my security system, you would probably see the shockwave of this impact on the ground. The fat man flapped around like a fish out of water, with a panic-ridden expression on his face. He probably thought that I would finish him off with a few kicks to the ribs and head. All he could do was wrap his flab-laden arms around his face and try and protect his ugly mush. But I wasn't going to give him the satisfaction of a major kicking. I really couldn't be fucked with getting arrested for being excessively violent. I just pointed my finger at him and said, "You ever come to my house again with the fucking intention of violence, you fucking cunt, I'll have you so fucking hard, you'll wish you were never born, you sorry saggy sack of fucking shit." I paused and calmly said, "Now get the fuck up and get out of my fucking sight." I left the beach whale where he laid and went into the house, and was greeted with a big hug from both Ellie and Aurora, as well as kisses from Agamemnon. We all went back into the living room, and I observed out the window that no one came to help pick up the fat fucker, not even his haggard, hunched-back cunt of a mother.
Thank you for listening to the War of Caernarvon Crescent. If you've enjoyed this production from On SFX Media, why not check out more content by clicking the link in the description below. Until next time, soldier.